Today, we're going to take a look at the Dynasty trade market and look at 3 running backs and their value in Dynasty Fantasy Football per ADP, per the trade market, and see what we want to do with them. And we're going to start things off with Naji Harris. His December ADP is at 38th overall, so he's 30th player off the board, and he's being selected as the RB12, so technically in the RB1 range. He turns 25 in March. This year, so far, he has 843 rushing yards, is averaging 3.7 yards per carry, has 2.75 yards after contact per attempt. He's got 38 balls for 207 yards this season, a lot less receptions compared to last year. He has 2 RB1 weeks, 5 RB2 weeks. Here's the trades that we've seen so far. We've seen Deebo Samuel for Naji Harris, TJ Hockenson for Naji Harris, tight end premium, Naji Harris for Dalvin Cook, Naji Harris for Amon-Ra St. Brown, Naji Harris for Javonte Williams, Naji Harris for an injured Cooper Kupp. Players about the 30 to 35 range of ADP is kind of what you're feeling for him in the trade market here. Then for draft picks, we got Naji Harris for a first and second. This is for 2023 picks. His value has dropped from a top 10 asset to a top 40 in ADP. His value should tread water throughout the offseason, though. He should stay pretty solid. Might see some minor decreases throughout the offseason due to the rookies being infused in the ADP, but there really shouldn't be many events that should impact his situation. His value could see a slight bump right before the season as people look at their active lineups and think of him as a potential point getter for the lineup. Time to buy is anytime between now and in the offseason because he's the RB12-ish right now. Should be somewhere around there throughout the offseason. RB15 to 12, RB15 to 9, somewhere around that range is where he's going to be valued at. Remember, he was dealing with health issues a lot this season. He's been battling through injuries and playing through them. If he has a season where he's healthy next year, then you should see his value increase a bit, and maybe something between this season, what we saw, and his rookie year. The pass catching volume last year was something that may not ever be there again because that's just a situational thing, but maybe something in between, maybe a little bit more, especially over a 1,000-yard season if he's healthy, and this also depends on the offense. The best time to sell will be right before the season or if he's playing well next year. Obvious times, but you really want to look at it. When you look at the values here from the trades, those are decent values to get. Nothing really too crazy here. The pick values are alright. The player values are alright. And it really depends on what you want. You could also use him as a package up piece. Use him in your picks to get a stud. Maybe use him in multiple players and picks to really get a top tier stud. One of those top 3 or top 5 guys. You can be creative. See what you can do. But he does have some value, and maybe that can allow you to level up. Another running back I want to look at today is going to be coming back from injury in 2023 and might increase in value throughout the year. And we're looking at Javonte Williams. His December ADP is at 56th overall, so 56th player off the board. He's RB18 in value. Turns 23 in April. He played in just 4 games this season. 1 RB1 week, 1 RB2 week. Has that knee injury. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to speculate or guess his timetables or anything like that. I know it should impact his 2023 season. To what degree, I do not know. His dynasty value, though, should be in limbo until we get some concrete information about his health status, when he comes back, when he's going to be on the field, and then when we start getting production. When he starts coming back, obviously the value is going to increase. The cheapest time to get him is probably right now or around rookie draft time, when the rookies start to see an increase in value in rookie drafts. Some trades we've seen for him is Javonte Williams for Derrick Henry, Javonte Williams for Chris Godwin, Javonte Williams for a first-round rookie pick in 2023. He's packaged up in a lot of trades. Him plus picks, him plus players for an upgrade, for a better running back, for a better wide receiver. Using him as that stepping stone to get to the next player. That's him with maybe a couple other prospects. That's him with a couple other picks. Him and a first, him and a couple firsts, him and a first and a second. You really got to be creative on that standpoint. What you want to sell him for and then what you want to buy him for. Rookie draft time is going to be the best time to buy him, really, because that's when those picks are going to increase in value. That's when he's going to become more of an afterthought. People are going to have rookie fever, and there's going to be time in the draft where you're not feeling the rookies, you're not feeling what's on the board, and you like Javonte Williams, then that's when you want to submit your offer. That's probably when you're going to want him, and you'll know when that time happens because there's always a time in rookie drafts when your stomach goes in knots. Just once we find those landing spots, just set your markers for those values. The best time to sell might be between now and the NFL draft because you don't know if they're going to bring in another running back, or right before he comes back, because there's going to be a lot of hype right before he comes back. A lot of people are going to want to get in, and you might be able to sell then. And then obviously if he starts playing well, these are all obvious markers for when to sell, but those are times when you want to time the market. Right now may not be the best time considering the injury, considering he's an afterthought, but there's also some risk going into the NFL draft. We've seen Denver mocked with some running backs as well. Nothing against his talent, nothing against him, but we are just grading the Dynasty fantasy football market between social media, between ADP, between the trade market, and everything else we see to help you time what you want to do, whether you want to buy or sell the player. The next running back I want to look at is a rookie, and he's a fringe prospect that could go up or just stay where he's at for a bit, and that's James Cook from the Buffalo Bills. Right now, his Dynasty ADP from December is at 85th overall, so he's the 85th player off the board. RB27, turns 24 in September, so he's an older rookie. 462 rushing yards this year, 2 touchdowns, has caught 19 balls for 174 yards, and has seen 17 targets in his last 6 games. He's really turned it on the last few weeks when it comes to overall workload, especially in the passing game. Some trades we've seen with him involved is James Cook for a 2024 first-round pick, James Cook for Cam Akers, James Cook for James Robinson, a second and a third, James Cook for a first and Nick Chubb, James Cook plus a first for Nick Chubb, James Cook for Tyler Higbee, James Cook for Brian Robinson. The value for him is very ambiguous, so he's a player you may want to test the market on either way. Just kick the tires. You could use him as a package up piece. We saw that in that one deal. Just add a first round pick and see what you can get. See how you can upgrade to get another player. Or you can see if you can get one over on your other league mate and see if you can catch a trade with him for some players you don't even want on your roster that has some baseline value. We've seen that on some other trades. That doesn't mean it's going to work out for you, but those are some options, and it's happened multiple times, so that can be realistic for some Dynasty gamers. He should hold his value throughout the offseason. I don't see why he shouldn't. Even if the Bills draft a back, they shouldn't spend huge draft capital, maybe a mid to late round pick. I'm just guessing though, but it'd probably be like a banger back. They just got a receiving back here out at Cook, so imagine they'd try to get the contrary to really offset that. But nonetheless, he's at RB27. If they bring in another back, he's not going to drop much farther than that. Even if it's a good back, he's still pegged in line to get some work in the passing game, so you could see similar results. Obviously, typical value bump right before the season or anytime he's playing well. There also could be a perceived value bump if attrition happens in the offseason that allows him to be the lead guy or the perceived lead guy going into the season, so that's something you want to look for. Watch the news on him. The best time to always buy and sell is during the rookie draft, especially for a prospect like this. If you want to get him, always that time in the rookie draft when you're done, when you're sick of the players, you don't care who you draft next, maybe you can kick the tires on him, depending how deep you are in that draft. But the picks are more valuable this year compared to other years, so when you're in the back part of the second, early part of third, you might be able to sneak away with some players. I'm not saying that's going to be his value. I'm saying you might be able to sneak away with some stuff like players like this or other players in this year's draft via trade that most likely wouldn't happen in any other year, but it might happen this year due to the value that's going to be on the board, especially at the running back position. So that's something you want to look at, something you want to think about come draft time, because these rookie picks are going to increase in value, and they've been gold for the last year and a half or so, especially for this year. So you're going to see an increase in value to where it's biblical proportions, to where you're going to see some crazy trades, either through the Trade Finder on social media and maybe even in some of your leagues. But Cook is a player that you want to keep an eye on. I feel like he's going to be pretty steady throughout the offseason. Those are 3 players that we're looking at via trade through the markets right now. Let me know what players you're looking at. Drop that in the comments. Maybe I'll do a video on them here soon. But before you head out, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm going to help you out with your rookie drafts, your dynasty team, trades, guys to pick up, and everything else. I want to thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next video.